was like, I learned a lot in India. Maybe if I start a business in India, I'd probably learn even more.
Wow.
Of course, India's fast growing. The U.S. was in a recession at that time. So you think maybe also it could be a good, financial idea.
Interesting.
And then started thinking about business ideas, but always I was in love with the kind of Mexican food and especially the format. So Chipotle obviously is the gold standard in that. And then Qdoba, Moe's, there's a few others as well.
You actually went and worked at Moe's, right? When you came back to the U.S.
So once I decided that I wanted to do this, I committed to it. I think that was probably in September of 2010. Just after the new year was starting, I just enrolled in a business school class and got a job at Moe's to see if I liked it or not. I'd worked in food service earlier, so I knew food, but then just took a kind of a part-time job at Moe's.
Doing what?
Frying chips, serving on the line.
Okay.
It's kind of also a very different socioeconomic class of people who were working there. So that was also a kind of interesting experience.
Yeah. Most college graduates don't end up going and working.
I think I was the only one
in QSR. Yeah.
But made friends with a few of them. There were some people who've been in prison. There's not obviously the choice job for a lot of people, but good people working there. And that kind of got me hooked. I think just seeing customers, interacting with customers, and I love the food and the format. So.
Was it also while you were back there in the United States that you connected with your co-founders and pitched them this idea of maybe starting a company in India?
Yeah. So I think once I got back, I started speaking with Galen about it, and he was a fan of it as well, although he was at that time acting. So he had an acting career, and he had shot some big movie called Band Slam, I think a year or two earlier. And so he still had acting gigs he was getting. So he was, while interested in it, I think ultimately had other things he was doing. So even when we started, he was not here for I think the first 6 or 8 months.
Oh, really?
And then came after that.
Okay. And then your other co-founder, is he Indo-American?
He's not. His name is Indian. His name is Duttam. His parents had converted to Sikhism in the 60s, but not Indian at all.
Help me to understand, you and your two co-founders are all coming from the United States for the first time. I guess you get your own respective apartments. You're figuring out life here when you start the company. How were you able to finance the business in the early days? Was it just money out of your own pockets?
Some. So we originally each put in, I think, $15,000. And then our parents each probably put in $15,000, $20,000. And then what we did is when we came here, we started Tumblr. So every day or two, we would post whatever we were doing. And we had pitched some people before we came to India about this business. And people were, I think, appropriately skeptical. 22-year-olds in a country they don't know doing a business they don't know, probably should be. But I think the Tumblr convinced people that we at least were doing the right approach. Developing tortillas, working on kitchen equipment, looking for real estate. And I think that kind of convinced some people who were on the fence. So I think we raised about $200,000 and maybe $50,000 to do the first 2 stores, which was more than enough for that.
That was like a triple F round, family, friends.
Yeah.
Okay, and fools.
Yeah.
But clearly not, because the business actually ended up...
They've done pretty well.
Yeah. And then in terms of just getting a restaurant up and running, as you mentioned, kitchen equipment, you have to think about staffing. Who are these employees that we're going to be hiring in this location? Figuring out the menu, the ingredients, supply chain. Like, how long did that take? And what was the experience? You even said like one of your co-founders, Galen, didn't come for 6 months. So like, was it basically just you and your other co-founder on the ground?
It was me and Duttam, and we had hired an ops person, kind of an ops manager at that point in time. We did some catering to get our feet wet. We catered for Zynga. We had made a friend with a guy at Brunch who was the head of Zynga India, so we catered for them. We catered for, I think, one of these German multinationals. And so we hired a chef actually who came in from the US, also from California. So it was a lot of R&D happening. But mainly, I think what kind of kept us a little slow, it took 10 months to 11 months to get the first store opened, was just real estate. Restaurants run on real estate in a big sense.
Yeah. So setting up that first location in Embassy Golf Links Tech Park, that's a pretty desirable place to.
Great property.
Yeah. Yeah. But it must have been like, you guys are brand new, right?
Yeah.
They've never heard of you. You know, I don't even know if you had a website at that point.
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Probably not.
You've got a Tumblr. You've got a Tumblr. Hey guys, take a
Yeah.
look at our Tumblr. Right? Not that convincing.
Yeah.
Was it difficult to secure that first location, and how did you go about it?
We paid too high a rent. That's effectively what we did. But yeah, we were looking at Orion Mall where a deal fell through. We had gotten close to signing a deal, but they were skeptical, so did not sign that.
Are you happy that you didn't end up going that route and chose Tech
Honestly,
Parks?
I think that would have also worked.
Okay.
But the property we got was better. So both I think would have put us on a path of success, but the one we got was definitely better.